So we're close to the end of the genetic series of ball pythons and explaining a bit of how the different genes interact with each other. So today we're going to focus on actually mixing codominant, dominant and recessive genes with each other. So we're going to go through some of the combinations that we've got in the collection. Sometimes it can be complex with mixing the different gene pools with each other. There's a lot of different options and a lot of variety with the combos. So let's take a look at some of the animals. So in the past videos, we tried to break down all of the animals by themselves, looking or like taking particular look at certain individual genes at the purest form. Today we're going to show you guys some of the genes when they interact with each other. So let's start it off with codominant and dominant mutations. So here we've got an orange dream leopard spot nose. So it's actually three dominant or codominant genes. Two of the genes you can be classified as codominant genes, and of course leopard could also be classified as a codominant, but it's more dominant because we're not really able to identify the super. So the great thing about leopard and spot nose, they are both pattern dominant genes. So when interacting with each other, we get a lot more of the pixelation. And the nice thing about orange dream, again, it cleans up the combinations and gives a lot more color. So here with this animal, we've actually got the perfect in between. As you guys can see, it's got some awesome patterning and alien head still, but the orange dream actually reduces the combination a lot. So let's go take a look at some more combos. Another combo here, this is a fire Enchi lace, and all three of these genes are classified as codominant mutations. All of these three genes has got distinguishing supers, and you're able to identify all of the supers in the clutch. So the nice thing about this combo, of course, Enchi is a pattern reduction gene, so it reduces a lot of this pattern and gives a lot of these bandings. Fire is another enhancing gene, normally making the animal a bit of a lighter coloration. And of course, lace just increases the coloration and really brings out the sides of the animal. And overall, if you compare this snake, let's say to a plain fire Enchi, there's a huge difference that the lace does in this combo with a lot of genes. Sometimes the most subtle genes can make a huge influence. Here we've got an orange dream, yellow belly, leopard, Enchi, sugar, head for pied, and she's posset clown. So here we've got a mixture of incomplete dominant and dominant genes, and of course this animal is carrying the pied gene but is not visually representing the gene. So yet again, if you breed with this animal in the near future, if you breed with her to a pied animal, you should get pieds. And you should also get a mixture of all of her codominant mutations that she's got. I really love this combination. I think sugar and calico has got huge potential, and I think going forward we're going to see some real awesome animals being produced in that complex or in that gene pool. So now let's go take a look if we actually add a simple recessive with a few codoms or with actually just a codom. Okay guys, so like I just explained, here we've got a codominant mutation and a recessive mutation into one animal. So here we're starting to stack the genes, or what some people call gene stacking. So the pied is probably one of my favorite genes of all time. This is the gene that really got me involved with ball pythons in terms of studying and looking further into the genetics of the snakes themselves. So basically, yet again, it's one incomplete dominant gene or codominant gene and one recessive gene. But yet again, for pieds to be reproduced, both parents need to either visually represent the gene or carry the gene. So let's take it one step further and show you guys a multi-codominant mutation pied combo. Here we've got an Enchi red stripe pied, and this male is also head for clown. So that is the next step as well. So here we've got two codominant mutations. We've got one visual recessive gene, and this animal is possibly head for a second recessive animal or second recessive gene. So this is basically adding two codominant mutations into the pi gene. And what I love about Enchi and red stripe in this combo, so Enchi in general is a pattern reduction gene, or it actually cleans out the combos when it's in its base form. But once you actually add it into pied, you actually start to get a bit more of a low white pied. Red stripe is quite an interesting one, especially in pied. It can be extremely hard to identify it, but what I've seen is the red stripes is normally got more of a predominant like eye stripe and head patterning, and of course they've got some increase in the coloration in the saddles, in the pied saddles. So that's the easiest way to actually look at recessive animals, red stripe animals in pied combos. Okay guys, and in here we've got a confusion. You can see by the looks of the snake, it's definitely got the confusion gene. They tend to be a bit more nippy, and I always say, you know, these animals are not aggressive, they're just defensive. I mean, at the end of the day, if you still handle them with care, you can really avoid getting bitten. So this is a confusion fire leopard pinstripe clown, and this is a real mouthful of an animal, and all of these genes just work so well with each other. I mean, pinstripe, especially in clowns and in some other recessive animals, can be really dominant. But what I love about what leopard and actually confusion did into the pinstripe clown, it broke up some of the pinstripe dominant patterning. So we still have some of the influence of the pinstripe, which is majority of the animal. As you guys can see, is the pinstripe head and of course the pinstripe coloration. But what I love about this animal is it's got the confusion and the leopard patterning, and it would not have been so pixelated without those two genes. And of course fire is yet again an enhancing gene, so we can see the coloration of the animals a bit lighter. So taking it a step further again now, here we've got a double recessive animal, and she's actually got three incomplete dominant or co-dominant mutations plus one super, so she's actually a double layer of orange dream. So she is a super orange dream, pinstripe, and I think she's fire clown pied, and yet again she could actually be head for lavender as well. So this is basically going to double recessives with some co-dominance. So in order to reproduce these animals from the start of the video until this animal, it becomes more difficult to get all of these genetics into one animal. That is why sometimes if you compare the prices of some of these animals, sometimes newer projects and some projects like these double and triple recessive projects, which are much harder to reproduce, somewhat keep their value much better than co-dominant gene stacks, just because it's not as easy to reproduce it. So with this animal, for instance, in the future, if we want to reproduce more clown pieds from her, we either need to pair her to a male double head clown pied, clown head pied, pied head clown, or yet again another clown pied, in order to reproduce more clown pieds. If the father doesn't carry the clown or the pied gene, we won't be able to reproduce pieds or clowns from this female. But a real awesome animal, and I actually love this animal because it's got so much orange, and I think actually going forward to incorporate this into ultramalt, into lavender, even into hypo can be a great addition for the near future. I hope you guys enjoyed this series we did on ball python genetics. Yet again, if you want to have a more in-depth analysis or explanation about how the genes work and all of the different chromosomes, go and look at Clint Reptiles. We'll try and link his channel again in this video. He's got great information and really goes in detail much further than myself. I'm just a normal snake breeder trying to show you guys awesome animals, and in the future as we go on we'll try and explain it a bit better. And if you've got any questions for us, leave it down in the comment below, or also you can send me an Instagram or Facebook message.